Hey friends, it's Rabbi Jenny Solomon in Raleigh, North Carolina, Beth Myers Synagogue. And I'm here with a mincha moment during this week of Tiferet, this week of growing the soul trait, the midah of Tiferet, which is the heart center, that place of truth and wholeness, of balance, of our own sense of self being right-sized. So we're in this beautiful, auspicious moment. And instead of talking about Tiferet, although that is certainly in the back of my mind, I wanted to talk a little bit today because I feel like this week invites us to do the work of Re'iyah or Zechira, so looking, seeing, and remembering. There is a teaching in the Talmud in reference to the tzitzit, the fringes that we wear on the corner of our talit, of our prayer shawl, that helps us understand that when we see, it's a very embodied ritual, that when we look at the tzitzit, the knots on the tzitzit, we will remember, in particular, we will remember our obligation to do mitzvot. And in remembering our obligation, we will then go forward to do good things. And I think that so much of spiritual practice is precisely that. It's the work of Re'iyah, clear seeing. And there's a great, I don't know if it's true or not, but there's a teaching that Reb Zalman Schachter Shlomi, who I never learned from directly, but my teachers learned from him, said that every quarter, every season, he would see a psychotherapist to help him see his blind spots for the moment. And what I love about that, in addition to the value of seeing a psychotherapist, is just this acknowledgement that as human beings, we have blind spots. We have relational blindness, and part of our spiritual work is trying our best to create practices and space and time and hopefully relationships as well that help us see the things that we cannot see without that sense of intention, dedication, focus, and other perspective. And so this week actually brings us into this work of Re'iyah and Zechira in two ways, at least two ways. The first is the Torah portion of the week, which is Tazria Metzora, otherwise known as the least favorite bar bat mitzvah Torah portion, because it deals with skin lesions and menstruation and all kinds of very physical things that were quite important in the culture of holiness and understanding what is sacred and what is profane. They're still important to us now, but perhaps in slightly different ways. In any case, the Kohen, the high priest, we see multiple times in this week's Torah portion, is told to look and look again and look again. And remember that the priest served more of a kind of a medicinal and a health role in addition to his spiritual responsibilities, or perhaps they're really one and the same. So the priest was commanded to look closely and then look again at these skin lesions in order to determine sort of the path to healing, to understand perhaps the cause, but also the path toward wholeness and health. So that's one reference to looking. And the other is that beginning, today is Rosh Chodesh, the new moon of Iyar. Tomorrow will be Yom HaZikaron, the day of remembrance. And on the day of remembrance, we remember all those who have fallen in service of the state of Israel over the years, over the generations. And we are called to remember their lives, their names and their lives and their service. And so I want to bring both of these ideas together and say that in our practice, whether it's our prayer practice or we light a yahrzeit candle tomorrow for Yom HaZikaron, or in our embodied practice, whether that looks like yoga or walking or running or however you move with intention, whatever your practice is, or sitting in meditation, that we are invited to look deeply and to remember. And not only that, but to look and to remember and have that be in service of acting, because we have looked and we have seen and we have remembered. And finally, I just want to make a connection to this moment we're living in this country. Another human being, another person created in the image of God, was senselessly murdered this week for a traffic violation. And I think that as we reckon with all the related issues that created the circumstances under which this could happen, once again, I see no separation between my spiritual practice and my call to activism and to tikkun olam, to repair of the world. Our job is to look, to practice seeing clearly, to remember what matters, what is true. And when we look and we've seen and we remember, then we are guided on the path of action, repair, and healing. So I wish everyone just a continued week of light and of tiferet, of compassion. And I appreciate you spending this time with me. Shalom. Peace.